Okay, so tell me a little bit about yourself and your channel.
I started my channel about like a few months ago. Actually, I think to this day it was like exactly like 3 months ago. And I started it as a means to I started it for a couple of reasons. Number one, I actually a few years ago I made a short film that was AMBW related. And that actually garnered a lot of views. Like over the course of 1 year, it got I think approximately 40,000 views, and that was it. That was actually, like a school related project, so I really didn't do that much promotion for it afterwards. I just put it online. And then but then afterwards, like after a year or so, it had like so many views. And I was definitely surprised because that really wasn't my intention. At first it wasn't really, like view count and like all that stuff I wasn't really thinking about that. But then I got to thinking, that like money wise that could actually make me a lot of money. And in terms of, just like long term, if I have like, a whole channel that's devoted to basically just making like original short films like that one, and I could, basically in the long run I could make like a lot of money. But then, I also did a lot of research into the topic, and it was very popular online. There are quite a few meetup and Facebook groups, sort of about the whole like subject MBW.
Mhm.
So I just felt like, why not? Yeah, why not try to cater to the audience, because I know they're gonna watch it. And I was kind of tired of, making film projects or whatever that people really didn't care about, or go out of their way to watch. So I just felt like, okay, like, it'd be cool, if I made this also for the sake of, I guess like making a little bit of extra income, but also make films that people are responsive to in the long run. Because I actually originally went to college for film media production. So I wanted to basically kind of put that to use finally,
Mhm.
and take more of like an entrepreneurial, kind of like, uh, approach to it. Uh,
Okay.
so so yeah.
Okay, cool. It's amazing how sometimes when you do something and you have one intention, but then it turns into something else, and sometimes it's much bigger than what you expected.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what motivated you to start this channel, which you kind of elaborated on that
Mhm.
earlier?
Yeah, like I said, I went to school for film media production. So I essentially learned how to make movies in college, or sort of like the basics of it. And aside from, like a couple of jobs that I've had, I guess like over like the long term since like I graduated college, I hadn't really made like, like made any money off of, like what I had learned essentially.
Mhm.
Like filmmaking in general seems to be, it's a sort of craft that people hone and perfect over, the course of, the career, or like course of like many years. And it had been basically I think about 11 or so years since I graduated college. And so I wanted to, I was sort of like kind of like had the itch I couldn't scratch. I was like, I don't want this degree to go to waste.
Right.
And plus, MBW, like I said before, it is a very sort of expansive topic online. There definitely is an audience for it. So that means I won't be just making a movie for myself, because people that I don't know, and people that, aren't related to me or aren't friends with me or anything like that, they'll actually watch it. So
Right.
for anyone who, is in my position, who, wants to make movies, or, is going to film school or college or whatever, that's sort of like what we aim for. Is we want our work to be seen. We want, our work to be critiqued and, commented on and shared and talked about, all that stuff. And so I think up until I actually created this channel, I was having a hard time finding an audience for anything that I was doing, whether it was AMBW related or not. So yeah.
Okay. So, what's your experience with AMBW?
So I guess, I haven't yeah, I have had like one or two relationships in the past. I would say one of my earliest relationships, my ex, she is black, she's African American. And she I mean, yeah, it was, oh man, how long ago was that? Yeah, it was a little while ago, but we actually went out for like a few years, for about 2 or 3 years. And it was a pretty good relationship. Like I said before, it was a while ago, so it was definitely a good learning experience. Also,
Mhm.
like just in general of how to, sort of what to do and what not to do in a relationship. And yeah, I mean, she was definitely one of the first people that sort of gave me a shot, and sort of just like, yeah, basically just like gave me a shot, gave me a chance, and got to know me in that way. And I really did respect it. I have a lot of respect for her. We're still friends to this day. Um, and yeah, so that was then. And then a few years later, I dated another girl who was black. And it's basically, like I said, I definitely think that in that relationship I definitely grew a lot from the previous one. Of
Mhm.
course, it was definitely, like 4 or 5 years later, but it was something that I was more mature. I had more patience with myself, more patience with other people. And I was just in general just a wiser sort of person. And and yeah, I think in general, it's not just in terms of like dating or relationships or whatever, but like my interactions with black people, my experiences with them have been for the most part really positive. I also want to say that in general, yeah, I feel like as people of color, we sort of have this kind of like, I don't want to say like kinship or bond or whatever, but like in general, I feel more comfortable with other people of color. I
Mhm.
know that that might sound a little bit biased or anything like that, but it's true. Like I said before, I had a lot of my experiences with black people and with brown people have been more positive than negative. You know what I mean? So yeah, just in general, you know what I mean. With this whole platform, like with YouTube and stuff, I wanted to make something that catered to those two groups. As far as like Asian men and black women, because in the media and also in terms of dating statistics and whatnot, we are both sort of, I guess, kind of like depicted in a more like negative light by the media and by people in general. So I
Mhm.
wanted to also use this platform to help sort of give more of a positive representation or portrayal of the two groups. And like I said, I mean, I did base some of it on my own experiences. I took a lot of what happened to me and those two relationships and whatnot throughout life and sort of applied it to my filmmaking. And that's something that I definitely look forward to do, because people do say you should write what do what or whatever. And so I just feel like for me, that's definitely a way that sort of helps me as a filmmaker as well. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, and in general, it's definitely not just the positive things, it's also the negative things that I take from it too.
Mhm.
But I definitely wanted to make, with these short films, I wanted to make something that is relatable by a lot of people. And I mean, you don't necessarily have to be an Asian man or a black woman to enjoy it. Like my work is for everyone. I mean,
Right.
like just in general. I mean, there might be like a few things here and there that might be a little bit more specific, I guess, but in that terms. But yeah, just in general, I've been fortunate enough to have some really good, interesting experiences with people. And yeah, so that's basically it.
Okay. Uh, sorry, my phone kind of went. Okay,
No,
there we
that's
go.
okay.
Sorry.
It's all good.
Okay, let's see. So, what are you looking for right now?
Right now, I would say that right. Okay, so right now, I'm very single right now, but I am sort of kind of focused on like creating more content. Excuse me, creating more content. I also am enjoying sort of the space that I'm in right now, where I'm more focused on me, and I'm more, sort of kind of transitioning into, a new unexpected, period of my life, which, like I said before, is creating content and producing content and whatnot. It definitely
Mhm.
takes up a lot of my time. Trying to contact people for interviews, trying to, like just like hold auditions for casting calls and stuff for my short films, trying to write films, trying to edit them, shoot them, edit them, all that stuff. It's definitely something that I'm doing for the first time. And I would definitely say that I'm understanding sort of the difficulty and the stress that goes into it, that has been
Mhm.
shared by a lot of other content creators. I'm hoping that my channel grows. And in terms of, like personal things before, like I said before, I am single. I'm not dating anyone or talking to anyone. I've been on a couple of dates here and there, and they went okay, but didn't really lead to anything. And yeah, like I said, I just with everything that everything is going on in the world right now. It's sort of like, I think the whole world is kind of in that like state of transition, where things are
Mhm.
slowly opening back up, jobs are rehiring, people are starting to come out of their homes again. all that stuff. So I feel like, just in general, the world is in kind of like a state of flux right now, and I'm basically trying to, stay afloat, at the same time, just pursue something that is keeping me busy, but in a very, very productive way. So yeah.
Right. Okay. And I like that. I like that, you're focused. A lot of times people don't understand the pressure when you're trying to focus on something you love and then trying to have a relationship. It can cause more friction. And it's either going to break either way, the relationship or your goals.
Hmm.
So, and you definitely don't want to break your goals.
Hmm.
Okay. So, what are turn ons and turn offs in a girl?
So like as I've gotten older, I've realized that there are certain things that sort of contribute to a healthier, happier relationship. I think I'm definitely looking forward to, I guess, like someone who's stable in their life.
Mhm.
Like so I just turned 34, a little while ago, and so I guess technically that means I'm like in my mid 30s now, or like sort of like very rapidly approaching that. But it's, like I said, as I've gotten older and matured, I've definitely realized that, okay, stability counts, like financial stability. It would be nice to find someone who's educated, someone who, at least has their, undergrad or is pursuing that. And Yeah, I mean, like in terms of, having children and stuff like that, it's definitely something that is I've definitely thought about a lot too. Like I've also thought that, like, okay, like the older that a person gets, the less likely or the harder it gets to conceive children.
Mhm.
So that's something that I kind of wish I had thought about a little bit before. And I'm sort of taking my own personal measures to ensure that that happens too. But just like, yeah, in general, there are a lot of things I've gotten older that I wish I sort of had thought of when I was, younger, like in my 20s, or, early to late 20s or whatever. Because I think like when I was in my 20s, I didn't really think about the stuff that I'm thinking about right now.
Right.
Like I said before, there's things in your life that you want to do that get harder as you get older, and that goes for men and women. And so I'm finding that in general, it's kind of interesting because I'm finding that in general, like, even as as I get older, and like even as, like, like other people, like girls or women get older, they're not necessarily thinking about the same stuff still. And I don't know if that's like a generational thing, whether or not people in my generation are less willing and less looking forward to settling down and getting married and
Mhm.
having kids and stuff like that. I feel like my generation is kind of like the anti-marriage, anti-kid generation, because I don't know too many people my age that are doing that. I know a lot of people my age that are in relationships or dating, but I feel like they're still in that casual phase, and maybe like majority of them don't want to settle down, you know what I mean, and get married and, have family and all that stuff. So that's interesting to note. But just for me personally wise, like in general, like stability, financial stability, um, mental health wise, because I've also, like I said, I've had a lot of very interesting wild experiences with dating. And Yeah, I can definitely say that I've met my fair share of people who are kind of a little bit off their rocker, a little bit, they're kind of crazy. And so
Me too.
I Yeah, so I'm hoping that, whatever happens in the future, that I meet, that they're like, all mentally sound and stable, and there's no issues there. But yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, in terms of that, I'm definitely thinking about that stuff. But yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Let's see. What do you hope to accomplish with your channel? Okay, so what do you hope to accomplish with your channel?
So a couple things. Number one, I want the channel to grow and I want to expand. I've found, originally when I started my channel, I actually wanted to just make short films. I didn't plan on doing interviews. I didn't plan on, trying to reach out to different people and collaborate with them and all that stuff. I just wanted to make short films because, like I said
Mhm.
before, like, my first experience making AMBW related project for YouTube, that garnered a lot of views, and that was a short film. And that was
Mhm.
sort of more in my lane. That was more in my wheelhouse of what I had trained to do in school and stuff.
Mhm.
So it definitely was something I was more comfortable in. But then, I think, like I told you, like, I reached out to you. I was like, "What's going on? How come, like, YouTube is saying you need 4,000 hours watched?" And it was like, "How do you reach that number?" And I remember talking about it with you, and I also got to thinking right after that. I was like, shoot, like how do I do that? How do I get to that like seemingly impossible, to reach number? So that's why I basically started doing interviews. I started, like playing shoots in Korea. I started doing how to, learn different languages, different Asian languages like Korean and Japanese and stuff. And I'm basically hustling, like I said, but I really would like to have this channel grow and sort of, reach an audience that even extends beyond AMBW, because I feel like AMBW is awesome, but at the same time it's very niche, it's very, very specific. And I feel
Hmm.
like, I feel like it's kind of like a rule of thumb. Like you need the world to start growing and changing, and you need and basically so is like business. So from a business perspective, you also need to change and adapt and grow.
Hmm.
Otherwise, your channel will kind of, go nowhere. You know what I mean? Like you'll have that target audience, but it'll just be them. So you know what I mean? Like I do want to have a broad appeal. I do want to still incorporate AMW related topics and themes into the things that I do for this channel. But I also, like I said
Right.
before, yeah, yeah. Like I said before, I definitely would like to, like grow my audience as well. And like I said before, like there's it's my channel is not just for AMBW related, topics or audiences or whatever. Like I think like anybody can watch it, because anybody can, relate to, dating and love and uncertainty and relationships and all that stuff, breakups. It's sort of a very kind of hot topic anyway, like dating and relationships and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like in general, yeah, like in general, I would say that's definitely my goal. My second goal would be obviously, from a more superficial perspective, is to get my channel monetized. Because like I said, I do spend a lot of time on YouTube. I watch a lot of other people, on YouTube. And actually just the other day I was on a live stream. Well, I mean, like me, technically I wasn't on the live stream. I wasn't on the panel, but I was watching it and I was commenting. And it was a YouTuber that has like over 3,000 views or something like that. He's really, really cool. I like his channel a lot, and I actually got a shout out. The guy, he actually pulled up my channel. He basically shared the screen, and he pulled it up, and he said some very nice things about it. And
Okay.
yeah, and that was really cool. It's really nice to get that. It's sort of like attention and yeah, attention from people that I don't even know, but
Hmm.
sort of like watching YouTube and stuff. And yeah, I would definitely, I don't think I'm a narcissist necessarily, but I've never really indulged in that sort of area before. Like for me, this is one of the first few times that I'm putting myself on camera, because in general I don't really feel comfortable doing that most of the time. But I
Hmm.
feel like it'd be nice, what I mean, especially as I get older, like it'd be nice to sort of just, you know put myself out there, and sort of put me first, and yeah, just sort of just enjoy it. You know what I mean? It's a hustle, but it doesn't mean that I can't have fun with it. So yeah.
Okay. Let's see. So, what are your views on dating?
So I have a lot of interesting views on dating. So I actually recently just tried to re-upload or republish like an online dating guide that I wrote. I don't know if I ever talked to you about it personally, but I have written one in the past, and I actually took it down. Excuse me. I took it down for a little while because I wanted to focus on other projects, but I'm putting it back up now on sale for Amazon Kindle and like all that other stuff. But basically, that book is actually based on all my experiences with online dating, and sort of like the before and after, because I like to describe it as before/after process. So the before is referring to, like when I was just starting out online dating, when I was just starting out with dating in general. Because in general, I didn't have a whole lot experience growing up. It was really only until after I graduated college that I sort of like started going out on dates and meeting people and seeing what happened and all that stuff. And so when I first did it, it was definitely rocky, to say the least. It definitely was not smooth sailing. It was not, not great. I mean, it was interesting, but
Hmm.
it was more of a learning experience for me. And I've definitely that's part of the reason why I made that book, is because a few years into dating, I actually sort of hit rock bottom. I hit a really, really low point, without trying to give too much away, but I hit a really, really low point in my life, and that affected my relationships with my family. with my friends, with other people, just in general. And it definitely affected that in a very negative way. But I managed to bounce back from that, and not only do that, but I also managed to find a way to sort of reverse my bad luck with women and with dating. And I did it, and that actually worked, and it was a complete 180. I started going. My love life in general was a lot healthier. It was a lot more stable. I basically, yeah, basically, like I said before, it was a complete transition, which is amazing. And it's been a lot healthier and more stable to this day. But I do want to say that before that, when I was still learning how to date and stuff like that, I made a lot of mistakes that I feel like a lot of people, and specifically a lot of like Asian guys who might be watching, this channel or whatever, or this video, would make, I guess, in that sort of situation. So I just want to take the time really quickly to go over a couple of those things. So when I was first going out, like I said before, I was really naive, and I effed up a lot. I made a lot of mistakes, and like all the same thing would happen every time because I kept making the same mistake. And so yeah, what I'm about to say might you personally might disagree with. That's fine. I think in general a lot of people might disagree with, but it works for me. So that's why I'm going to share it. So one rule that I have for dating is number one, be completely honest with what you're looking for. Especially in like written form when you're filling out an online dating profile site or whatever, you know what I mean, and you're trying to fill in the whole about me sections and all that stuff, all that stuff. Like it's very important to state what you're looking for. It's really, really important to say what you're looking for, and also just as equally important, say what you're not looking for.
Mhm.
Because I feel like I didn't do that. I basically did what most people would do, and I just wrote, "Oh, these are my hobbies, blah blah blah. Here's my name, blah blah blah," and see what happens. That's never a good idea because people are very visual and literal creatures. So I feel like the more straightforward that you are about what whether you're looking for just friends or casual dating, or whether you're actually looking for something serious, you know what I mean, and you're not looking to waste your time, like you need to literally state that and make that obvious as heck on your profile. Um, and I found, like, once I did that, that actually attracted women who were looking for the same thing that I was, and
Mhm.
they weren't just there just for looking for friends. They weren't just there just to get out of the house or waste time or get free food, which is like my next point I'll get to. But you know what I mean, like in general, yeah, I feel like there's two types of people who are online, as far as like online dating wise. The first group would be people who are not really looking for anything. They're just there just to date, and they're just there in their trying to basically like just have fun phase or whatever, um and they don't really care. They don't really care if they waste your time or not. They're just there just to get out of the house and to basically kill a couple hours or so with you.
Mhm.
um that usually doesn't lead to anything. But the second group of people who are looking for something serious are there obviously because they want to get to know you. They want to give you a shot and see where it goes. And those types of people are not as flaky. They're more stable. They're more honest about what they're looking for too. And in general, they end up not wasting your time, like the other group does. And so that's one rule that I have: is always state what you're looking for, and moreover, what you're not looking for. You really do need to be that forward. I can't stress that enough. A lot of people will not put that on there because they don't even think about doing that on there. But
Mhm.
yeah, the second rule that I have is, this is going to be a controversial one. Um, is I always go Dutch, and it's not because I'm a cheap ass, but it's because it sort of ties into the first rule that I had, which is the different types of people that you meet. Um, so I feel like you know you as a guy, you going out of your way to pay for a woman's dinner or lunch or coffee, whatever it is that you guys are doing, movie tickets, whatever, that sort of gives them an excuse to kind of waste your time, basically. Because that's one thing that I have. It's like, what I mean? Like a lot of people on there are just looking for something more superficial. They're just looking to, to basically have someone pay for, their lunch for that day, or for dinner or a movie ticket or drinks or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I feel like if you say in your profile that you're going Dutch, and that what yeah, so going Dutch, basically, for those that don't know, it basically means that you only pay for yourself and the other person always pays, for them, basically. You know what I mean? 50-50 down the middle.
Mhm.
And I feel like that also goes to show how serious that other person is. Because I feel like, you know what I mean, like it's like I said, it's kind of a hot topic. A lot of people might disagree with me on that, how I do that. I don't really care. It works for me. But I'm just saying, you know what I mean, in general, you know, like, yeah, like money, you know what I mean, you're, you know, if a woman is willing to pay for herself on a date, and she still shows up and she still wants to get to know you and all that stuff, and it leads some more dates down the line, then that means that shows that basically goes to show that how serious she is. You know what I mean? Not just about paying, but in general about getting to know you, about the whole dating process. You know, so that's rule number two, and then the last rule that I'll get to. So this is a very interesting topic because I know a lot of people will this is kind of a deal breaker for a lot of them. So I'm not exactly very tall or anything like that. I'm pretty short, unfortunately. But I still found a way to make it work for me. And I found that when I was first starting out, that was definitely a deal breaker for a lot of women. But the worst part is that they didn't exactly tell me that it was such a big deal to them. They didn't make it obvious that it was important to them.
Mhm.
You know, they just I found out the hard way that it was later on. But you know, just right up front, you know, that's something that just yeah. Anyway, so but I feel like, you know, going back to the first rule, also this ties back into the first rule, is that, you know, you do have to be straightforward about a lot of things, which includes your height. And when I was first starting out, I wasn't hiding it, but I didn't make it as obvious as I did later on. So basically, in like one of the first sections or whatever, of, you know, my online dating profile, I would basically change it and I would say, you know, okay, like, I'm looking for this, blah, blah, blah. I'm this height. If you don't like it, don't message me. Don't waste my time. All that stuff. And I found, like, you know, just being honest about stuff is like completely like night and day difference. You know what I mean, in terms of quality, in terms of dating and stuff like that, because I literally met, this is going to sound like it's kind of too good to be true, but I literally met women that didn't care about my height, that were looking for something serious, that were willing to go Dutch, all that stuff. It was the complete opposite of what I had encountered before, and in turn that sort of affected my happiness, my sanity, my mental health. Basically everything was a lot
Mhm.
healthier, everything is a lot more stable. And like I said before, I know there are a lot of women, maybe even I'll go as far as to say that the majority of them do care about height that is important to them. And that's fine. But for me personally, going forward, I don't have to worry about that issue because I know that I'm not, you know, from this one on, I'm not attracting the types of women who are unsure of me or don't like me because I'm short or whatever, because of my height. I'm attracting women who don't give a crap about that stuff. And
Mhm.
you know what I mean? So, and yeah, I mean, like I said, these are just three short chapters. You can buy my book. I'm not, you know what I mean? In a few days, it'll be available on Amazon Kindle and all that stuff to you know, purchase and read through. But I feel like in general, yeah, those are my thoughts on dating. You know what I mean? Dating in general is different for everyone. So I'm not saying that my rules or whatever will work for everybody, but I think in general that does possibly make a difference in terms of the type of women that you meet, in terms of, you know, whether or not you're looking for something serious. If you are looking for something serious, then these rules could help you, I think, in the long run.
Mhm.
And you know what I mean, it could even, and on the flip side, it could actually work for women too, maybe even, you know what I mean, because I feel like women a lot of times they complain about, guys wasting their time and guys just trying to use them and hit them up for sex or whatever, or wasting their time ultimately. And I feel like in general my approach could work for everyone, you know what I mean. Just swapped out the genders or whatever. But you know, like I said, in general, I think honesty and straightforwardness makes, you know, is something, there are things that are sort of underrated and overlooked a lot of times. I feel like dating is basically kind of like trying your hand at like the lottery. You know what I mean? You're taking a chance, and most of the time, like the lottery, you're gonna lose. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
there are certain factors like we just discussed. You know, like your intention, like, you know, your preferences and height or whatever. You know what I mean? Those are certain things that can kind of derail your pursuit of, you know, love or relationship or whatever. You know, and like I said before, like I've been saying a million times, you actually do have more control over that than you think. It's just a matter of choice. It's just a matter of choice of words. It's a matter of how you approach things, you know, or like approach different people. And yeah, you know, I mean, I feel like in general, if everyone did that, whether you're just looking for friends or for something serious, or, you know, marriage or what, anything like that, just be straightforward about it. and you'll end up wasting less time than you would have if you weren't as honest. So, so yeah, those are my thoughts on dating. You know, it's just been kind of a wild ride for me, but it's also been a really valuable learning experience.
Right.
And yeah.
Okay, that's very important. I definitely agree with you there. The honesty is the first thing that should go out on the table before anything else, honestly, or else it's just kind of really a waste of time. Let's see. So, do you have any dating tips other than the rules that you talked about?
Yeah, so I have a lot. So before I literally have um a whole book that was quite long devoted to that, but it's actually really interesting. So one tip that I have, I would say is that if for people watching out there, if you are looking for something more casual and you're more in that kind of, I was gonna say a word, but I'm not gonna say that now. More in that like fun phase. Let's just say that, quote unquote fun phase of your life, and you're still just basically looking to literally meet people and just have fun. Then you should use. Then I would say like the number one site for that would probably be OkCupid, because and it's kind of interesting, ironic that I'm saying that because that's my least favorite site. It's honestly, in my opinion, the most toxic site for me wise, but I'll go into that in a bit. But I'm just saying, like in general, if you're looking for something more casual and you're not ready to, commit to anyone just yet, you know what I mean, then definitely use OkCupid, because I feel like everyone on there is kind of on there for the same reason and purpose. They're just there just to have fun.
Mhm.
And then on, but if you're looking for something more serious, I would say use, especially for Asian guys, there's a site called East Meets East. I'll put the link in it to the description for this video, but I've actually had probably the most success on that site in general. Um, and it's kind of ironic because I like first starting out dating wise, I didn't really have a whole lot of luck meeting, or going out with women of the same race, the same background as me. Um, because that's basically what that website is. It's basically Asians who want to date other Asians for the most part. But like I said, that site is for everybody. Everyone can use it. But just in general, yeah. So I've actually had more success on that site than anything. But yeah. So if you're an Asian guy, definitely try that site at least once. You might, you know what I mean. Just like I said, with any website in general, just approach it with an open mind. If Asian girls aren't your thing, I would still say just try it. Just give it a shot. You might meet someone nice. You might meet, your future wife, or anything like that. Just in general, you never know. And then another site that I use is eHarmony, and I also want to say these two, like going back to East Meets eHarmony, those two are actually paid. Yeah, basically you have to pay to use them. And I know that might kind of scare some people away. And I promise right now, I'm not a shill for either of these sites. I don't work for either of these sites. I'm just plugging them because I'm saying in general, those sites have worked for me a lot. Um, but yes, eHarmony is good because, in general, I feel like, you know, if a woman and man are willing to pay to use a website, that also goes to show how serious they are about, about dating. So if you use eHarmony, East Meets East, you have a better shot at meeting someone who's also looking for something serious. So if you're looking for something more serious, you should definitely use those two sites. Like I said before, definitely be open and forward with what you're looking for and what you're not looking for, and always use this tagline at the end of every like paragraph or block or whatever. You should always say, "Don't waste my time," because literally, like I'm telling you, people like just people are very literal creatures. They're very visual creatures too, and you will actually be surprised at how many times that works for you. You know what I mean? You will actually definitely manage to filter out the ones who would otherwise end up wasting your time, whether intentionally or unintentionally. You'll actually filter a lot of them out, and that will make dating, online dating especially, like a whole lot smoother, easier process. I mean, it's not like super easy. I'm being honest here. It's not like it's gonna make everything okay, because it won't. You know what I mean? Because like life is not perfect, and neither is this approach, but it's a lot more solid. And it, like I said, if it worked for me, I'm not gonna go into exactly how tall I am, but if it worked for me, let's just say that it can work for pretty much anyone.
Mhm.
If it worked for me, if it didn't work for me, then I wouldn't have been able to write that book. You know what I mean? Which took me like months and months, almost a year to write. because there was so much detail and so much stuff that I wanted to put in there. And I promise that this video is not just one giant plug for my book. Um, but it's basically, I do want to say that going into dating, I never thought that I would, get to this point. I honestly thought that, you know, I reached a point in my dating life, my dating career, if you want to put it, that I didn't really think that I would ever meet anyone that I thought, I'd always be alone. I would never get to experience anything, real or stable with anyone. And I did. I thought of that, and I felt that way for quite some time until it just suddenly dawned on me of what I had to do.
Mhm.
And so I'm hoping, and like I said before, I think statistically wise, Asian guys have the toughest time when it comes to like types of men or whatever online or in real life, with dating. It's just harder for a variety of reasons for them to date. So I hope that my dating tips here, and if you decide to go buy my book, that stuff can help you, because that's basically what I'm there to do, is to share my experiences, and not only share my experiences for entertainment value, but also for like just to inform and to help people. You know what I mean? Because like I said, there are when it comes to dating, it's hard, and there are a lot of mixed people out there. You know what I mean? Mixed people in terms of their intentions or personalities, because everyone's different. And there's a lot of, I don't know how else to say it, like bad people, I guess, out there. But
Mhm.
there's also a lot of but there's also some good people out there. And you know what I mean, those people are definitely worth pursuing. In the long run, it's just kind of hard, because like I said before, you had to follow all my rules in order to filter out the good from the bad. You literally had to do that. And I'm not saying that Asian men have to try harder. I'm just saying that Asian men have to try differently.
Mhm.
And that doesn't necessarily mean harder, because I think if I said that, that would be extremely insulting and condescending, and I'm not about to do that.
Right.
I am about to try and help you, though. You know what I mean? And like I said, like my tips could work for women as well. And so yeah, in general, like I said, it's been a very interesting experience, dating and stuff like that. And I honestly, another final thought that I'll end that my thought on this question is that I feel like dating actually, um, definitely, it kind of gets a little bit easier as you get older, because people tend to mellow out a lot more, and that
Mhm.
goes for guys and girls too. It's like people mellow out, and they kind of realize as they get older what they want. And I'm gonna say, like, obviously, okay, so like not knowing what you want is definitely an obstacle when it comes to dating, because it's all fine like the first couple of dates or so, and then you get a text message saying, oh, I don't know if I can do this because I don't know what I want, and stuff like that. And you know it having sucks to like hear that. You know what I mean? I know what it's like to get that text or call or whatever, and saying, sorry, I don't want to see you anymore because blah blah blah. And even though you guys had a really good time and you might be interested in each other, that's a potential obstacle that a lot of people face when it comes to online dating. And I know I've asked this question of other people in other interviews that I've done, but yeah, like not knowing what you want is an obstacle. Is definitely so when you're so okay. So when going back to one like the first few dating tips that I had, that's also what you should state on your dating profile: is don't message me if you don't know what you want, right? Because that has actually also helped me in the long term too. Not every time, but most times does, because like I said, the girls that are not that are on there and they don't know what they're doing on there, honestly,
Mhm.
they're part of the first category that I like to say. I mean, they're there just to have fun. You know what I mean? Because that they're kind of playing it safe. They're not really committing to anything just yet or anything like that. They're just there just to have fun and meet as many guys as possible on there. Because they don't necessarily know what they want or what they're doing on there. So it's definitely something that, yeah, I feel like if you follow all these rules, you'll be okay. I'm not saying that it always works out, but I would say that in general, if you're in my circumstance or my situation, where you're an Asian man and you're single and you're shorter, yeah, you should definitely follow these rules, because I think they'll definitely help you in the long run. Um, and yeah, I know those are my thoughts and stuff.
Okay, that was very good. Very good tips. Very good dating tips, sorry.
Hmm.
So, do you think it's easier for an Asian man to approach a Black woman or vice versa?
I think in general, I think in general that it might it kind of works both ways, I guess. It depends on your level of confidence too.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what I mean? Like, okay, like for me personally, I don't like doing that. I've tried to approach women before. So sometimes strike out, sometimes occasionally you get lucky or whatever. But in general, it really just depends on the person. I've heard a lot of women complain saying that a lot of men don't approach them or whatever. That Asian men are shy, which I've been finding out the hard way just from trying to contact people to interview. That that is kind of true. So Asian guys, just know that you need to be less shy because that's just annoying as hell. But yeah, no, in general, I think yeah, if a person is shyer, they're probably not gonna approach you. And I think
Mm-hmm.
traditionally speaking, the expectation is that men approach women, um, which yeah, I mean is not like a big surprise or shock or anything like that at all. So I feel like here's my thoughts on that question. So I feel like it's worth taking a shot if you like that person, if you're interested in that person, because you never know. I think like a feeling that's worse than rejection is regret, because you'll never really know, what I mean, what could have happened or what, whatever, if you didn't take a chance. And I think that's in general, that's what dating is all about. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you see someone that you think is attractive or whatever, or you start talking to them and you become instantly drawn to them for some reason, then I feel like you should take a chance. You know what I mean? And it's hard. You know what I mean? It's not, like dating in general is very hard. Like I said, I found out the hard way. I managed to make it a little bit easier, but in general, it's still hard. It's not super easy. And so especially that's definitely the case when it comes to approaching someone in real life in person. Unless they're wearing like an actual, like ring on their finger or whatever, it's kind of hard to tell whether or not they're taken. So
Mm-hmm.
that's another factor, that comes into play too. Um, but yeah, just in general, just I would just say, just whether you're a man or woman, just go for it. You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to Asian men, I feel like Asian men are really underrated in terms of like the whole dating market and all that stuff. So a lot of people might be hesitant to do that, to approach them or whatever because of that, and vice versa. There might be a lot of negative conceptions or assumptions about oneself or each other or whatever that I feel like potentially gets in the way of long-term happiness or whatever. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, that's my advice. Whether you're shy or not, I would just say just get over it and just go for it. So yeah.
Okay, that's very good. Well, that's the last question for the interview. That was some very good points that you brought to us and brought across for for the viewers, and I'm sure that everyone would take in everything that you said. I don't know if we want to keep recording.
Oh no, I was just gonna say for you. Yeah. So again, this is yeah. So everyone watching at home, she has a YouTube channel, and also, so please go check it out. Go watch it, sub to it. Yeah. So she's definitely yeah. I'm sort of reversing the roles really quickly, but I want to say that yeah, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to interview me, because I know you're constantly on the move or whatever. You're working, so you're very busy also. But yeah,
A
guys. So
pleasure.
yeah, so guys watching this at home, go check out our channel. And it's really awesome. And yeah, just in general, like, comment, subscribe to this video, to the channel if you haven't already. And thanks for watching. And yeah, so I guess I'll close out the video. But yeah, like I said, thanks again. And yeah, so.
You're